LeBron James had an incredible game last night for the Lakers. 11 points, 12 assists. He was amazing in his unprecedented 23rd season. But it got me thinking, LeBron James is an excellent case to how much better you have to be than your matchup to win the leading championships. It really has to be such a large gulf in basketball to actually effective it, because throughout LeBron James' career, he has lost, even though he was like excellent in a lot of matchups. If you can neutralize his scoring and his rebounding and his assists, you you can, and with different parts of your team, you can effectively neutralize his whole effect on the game. And that's, I think that people should really take that to heart when talking about basketball. Because even Wilt, who has all these records, no one stops the process that the man didn't win until he had like Jerry West on his team and Elgin Baylor, and they don't stop. They don't stop the process. Like Mike was already like Michael Jordan in like '88, like '87, somewhere around there. He was already like his third year, but he didn't start winning until the '90s because you you can neutralize Mike's scoring through different ways. People speak to the Jordan rules and roughing him up and all that stuff. But really, Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars like neutralized a lot of his scoring, like, and his playmaking. So you you can look at those teams as like dirty, but man, didn't they have Rodman too? Like, dude, like you can neutralize, you can get in the way. I think that's why the Thunder are gonna have a distinct advantage, and Shea's gonna have a distinct advantage over Jokic because they're gonna send Hartenstein at him, Chet, like the Jalen, like they got a lot of people to just throw in front of this dude, and getting Caruso was a great idea, but Jokic is also a great example of this idea I have where your individual player can be so much better than the league. Like Jokic, I think should be the MVP most years, just because of his efficiency and how he runs the team, and he basically the point guard and the center, so that's two positions. He's actually has enough production for two separate players on crazy efficiency. Problem is the other people on their team is not the other people on the Thunder team. And I'm explaining a very simple concept, but I'm explaining it in a way where you can kind of see it doesn't matter how good like LeBron was in those finals. It didn't matter because when you're facing against a group of guys who are just efficiently better in that series to neutralize you, and let's say worst case scenario happens like in the 2011 series with the Mavericks. That's the worst case scenario where you score below your average. It will look like the worst thing ever because everyone was are looking at you to perform at such a like high level, you know, and to neutralize a star player to that degree in whole quarters, that sticks out in people's heads. Like I think even to Klay Thompson's 37 and a quarter sticks out in people's heads to this day. Like because it's such a quarter is such a long period of time in one game. If you was watching that game, you just see this dude make every shot. You're thinking next time you think of the best shooters in the league, of course you're thinking of Klay Thompson. Actually, when you start thinking of the best shooters ever, you could say Klay Thompson had 37 and a quarter on 13 dribbles. When you think of Braun, people don't. I don't know why people don't look at that Detroit Pistons series against a very game. It was like Chauncey, Rip, a lot of great guys, and he scored every single point in the fourth to get to the finals. I think that was more impressive than that year J.R. Smith had, just a lapse of judgment. J.R. Smith's a great player. That during that finals. Because yeah, the team was worse during the run with like Daniel Gibson and them. And the level of play, you gotta think about it. The next year after that, I think it was a year or two. Dwight Howard beat LeBron in a series. Like it's Dwight Howard was so good. He can neutralize LeBron. The way you could beat LeBron, you have to neutralize his effect on the court. Kawhi's 20 something, 6 rebounds, or whatever, while he was guarding LeBron in the finals. People look at, oh, he didn't do much against LeBron on the defensive end. He was giving you that on the defensive end and being highly efficient on the offensive end. That's what Iguodala kind of did. Like you're highly efficient on the offensive end, and you decrease a player's usual efficiency on the defensive end. That combination allows your team to be in front of the other team at the end when the game's over. Because the way people are beating the Warriors right now, you could just Curry's older, Butler's older. A lot of these people, they can give you like games where they can come into the clutch, really grind it out. But over the course of the season, they have to rest. The old bones have to rest, obviously. And you got to have the Warriors, I think they were thinking we can have a more consistent team if we had younger players in, and then we can sub our older players out, kind of like the Spurs used to do. But they don't have Kawhi Leonard. They don't have Tony Parker. They don't have Manu Ginobili. Like, I don't see that on that team. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen the way they hope it would. Actually, all those players they would have had is probably on the Thunder right now. You know what I mean? So, they had a chance to reload. They chose James Wiseman over like a player that could help them. You know, you kind of want a cheaper player too. That is under the cap is weird, but you know, you kind of want a cheaper player where you draft him and you can re-sign him to another deal. So because you can be over the cap, but you know, you don't want to play luxury tax for a team you don't think is going to win the championship. You know, like it's the world's most expensive roster that loses is a terrible thing for your GM to be. So when you have a great player like Jokic, yeah, I'm bringing that back around, or LeBron, or these guys that can be neutralized by some of the teams that may have a great player too, like Shea, who I think Shea's worse than, I mean, worse may be the worst, less effective than Jokic. Like Shea's less effective than Jokic. It doesn't matter because the rest of the team can make up what, 1 rebound, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. You know, like, and the defense is just the way they switch and rotate around. Like, you need a deep team to be able to do that because that exerts a lot of energy. There's a reason why teams don't rotate that much during the regular season. That's a lot of weight on your lower extremities. And the people who usually are doing that role, like a Klay Thompson for the Warriors, they get into injury trouble later in their career, so nobody wants to do it most of the time. Even Kawhi, who played that role for the Spurs, who, you know, switching, sliding, sitting in the chair, they usually have some injuries on their lower body. Not saying it's not worth it, you know, that's for them to decide. I'm just saying it's hard to tell a player that, hey, you're going to be our defensive specialist unless it's like the only thing they can do in the league, because what you would want to be is a scorer. You know, like a Luka. And Luka don't want to be sliding around everywhere. So, you know, you get someone else who the only reason that they're in the league is to neutralize another star player's potential. That's it. So, yeah. LeBron really showed me players like LeBron. The most obvious thing in the world. It's a team game.